Today, I'm finally reviewing the 2026 HP Victus 15. The Victus has been one of the cheapest gaming laptops in most regions. And with some improvements in its new 2026 revision, it should be a great deal. But prices have also been rising, so is this thing worth it? Let's find out. And please like and subscribe if you like these type of videos. From the outside, it is pretty obvious that the Victus is a gaming laptop. It's got this big reflective V on the back, but also this navy blue color, which I do think looks really nice. I wish we got more colors on these devices instead of just the boring blacks and grays of today. It's definitely made of plastic, so it flexes and bends a little bit if you put pressure on it. And the screen's housing is pretty flimsy, so I wouldn't sit on this thing. But plastic does make it a little more lightweight. It's not super heavy for a 15-incher. And it's also not that thick. I've definitely seen worse from gaming laptops. And it is still made for gaming first and foremost. With a new AMD chip and an RTX 5060, it should be able to handle pretty much everything. Now I say should because this 5060 is pretty wattage limited, which will also be the case for a lower or higher spec model. But while most budget gaming laptops have a pretty poopy processor, the Victus actually has a recent decent chip. For its ports, it has quite the selection. It's got basically everything you need from USB-C to Ethernet. But it's a bit of a weird decision to put most of the ports on the right side of the laptop. You know, where you'd normally put your mouse? At least they didn't put the charging port on the right side. Right, MSI? Its charging brick is on the large side, but it's not too heavy. And it uses a barrel plug, which some people prefer and others hate. But you could use a smaller charger for traveling, since it also supports USB-C charging up to 100 watts. Now let's look at its keyboard. It does have a numpad, which many people definitely need, as well as backlighting. It is only a white color and it doesn't have any brightness levels, so it's either on or off. But it's a hell of a lot better than not having a backlight at all, MacBook Neo. The keys themselves are decent. They do have enough key travel and are a little clicky, but they definitely feel plastic and they rattle a little bit. For most people though, it should be perfectly fine. Moving down, we have its trackpad. It's a decent size, but I myself don't really like it when trackpads are off-center to the left, since you keep touching it with your palm while gaming. It's made of plastic, and while it doesn't feel super premium, it is very tactile and actually feels super nice to use and gives a lot of feedback. Moving up, we have its display. And while it definitely has some nice specs for gaming, it's a little lacking in some areas. It does have an IPS panel, so colors are pretty nice, although blacks can look a little gray when you're in a very dark room. The refresh rate is the star of the show here. 144 Hz and low pixel response times means gaming feels very smooth. Its resolution is only Full HD, but at 15 inches, it's probably gonna be perfectly fine for most people. It's not low quality or anything. But its brightness really is lacking. 300 nits is fine for most indoor use, but as soon as you get any sunlight on it, it's pretty hard to see anything. It does have a matte display coating, so it's not reflective or anything, but that also just means all the light gets spread out. So instead, you've got a lot of glare. Its hinge does open up pretty far, but not all the way, so I wouldn't sit on it or anything. But that hinge does not feel very sturdy. It's got a lot of wobble and overall just feels a bit cheap. Like I said before, the entire display unit is bendable, so I would use two hands when opening up this laptop. Now on most gaming laptops, manufacturers usually put speakers on the bottom of the priority list. So how does the Victus sound? Well, it kind of sucks. It can sound clear at times, but it's pretty much lacking in any bass It doesn't get super loud and it just sounds very muffled. It only has a couple of small speakers on the bottom of the laptop, so there's not a whole lot to see here. Look, for gaming it's fine, but sound just gets garbled if it's very busy. The Victus actually has a pretty good looking webcam. It's full HD and is nice and crisp. Its microphone does sound a bit robotic, but you can hear what I'm saying pretty clearly. But this is a gaming laptop first and foremost, so obviously performance is the most important aspect. And while that newer processor does look very promising, it also has a very power limited GPU. So how fast is it? Well, in Cinebench R23, that Ryzen 7 does quite well. With a relatively new architecture, it's not only efficient, but competes quite well with other newer chips. But in 3D Mark TimeSpy, we see that RTX 5060 suffers a lot with only 80 watts of power. I mean, this is by far the slowest 5060 I've seen yet in a laptop. But synthetic benchmarks don't always tell you the entire story. Like I said, this is a gaming laptop, so let's see how it performs in some actual games. Well, in games, it actually performs pretty well. It is a benefit that it only has a 1080p display. Less pixels means less of a load on the GPU and more opportunity for that CPU to shine. And that shows, because especially in CPU-intensive games, the Victus actually performs very, very well. But there is something happening behind the scenes here. That 5060 is very heavily power limited. In GPU-intensive games, it barely reaches even 70 watts, which is a far cry from a laptop 5060's maximum power limits of 115 watts. So it's clear that this thing is being held back hard. Overall, it does still perform quite well in games, especially in CPU-intensive ones. And because it has a fast processor, it'll also handle most applications just fine. But just know that this thing could be performing a whole lot better. But maybe its wattage is just limited because it can't cool its components that well. Well, in heavy games, it's actually cooled quite well. Its CPU never really goes above 87 degrees Celsius, and its GPU never went above 81. So neither one of them is close to their temperature limits at all. So it seems HP is just very conservative with this cooling system. At least it's not overheating or anything. But does it make a lot of noise? Well, no, it's actually really quiet. So the priority on this laptop is definitely lower temperatures and less fan noise instead of better performance, which some people might actually prefer. But how is its battery life? Because this is usually where gaming laptops fall behind. Well, I tested its battery in two different scenarios, under light use and during gaming. In the light use scenario, I played a YouTube video until its battery died, with its display at 80% brightness, at 60 Hz, and with the laptop in eco mode. And it actually did really well, lasting over 10 hours in this light task. The Ryzen 7 350 is quite efficient, being built on a relatively new process node and having efficiency cores for lighter tasks. So unlike most budget gaming laptops, it actually lasts quite long. In actual real-world use, this number is likely going to be a lot lower, but that's still a full school day for a lot of people. Now, in the gaming test, I played Minecraft until its battery died, with the same settings as before. And again, it lasts quite long. Obviously, this is a lot shorter than in a light task, but for gaming, this is a really good number. Now, what about modular components? Well, these days, it's actually the cheaper the laptop, the more upgradeability that it has. And that is exactly the case with the Victus as well. It has fully upgradable memory, so you can shove 2 RAM sticks in here, if you can even afford them these days. It also has 2 M.2 SSD slots, so storage upgrades are very easy, and it's even got a Wi-Fi card slot, so you're not stuck with its mediocre Wi-Fi 6 speeds. But what makes or breaks this thing is its pricing. And even though it just released and we're in the middle of a RAM crisis, this model is actually pretty damn affordable. Some people would say that above $1,000 is not really budget, but right now anything below $1,400 is priced really well, since like 16 GB of RAM costs $400 now. But if that is still too much for you, the previous models of the Victus are basically the same as this one. And even though they do have lower specs, those are a lot cheaper in most countries. So, conclusion time. Is the 2026 HP Victus worth it? Well, it's not that bad of a laptop, but there are definitely better options at its price. This is overall a decent laptop. It has pretty good gaming performance, but its lower power limits really limit its GPU. It's got a pretty dim display, although it is nice and smooth for gaming, but the build quality is definitely lacking. But then again, it does have great battery life, which is pretty rare for a gaming laptop. But even though we are in an absolutely cucked market right now, there are actually 2 better options at the same price. The Lenovo LOQ has better build quality, a better keyboard, and way higher power limits, so it performs a lot better. And the Asus TUF A16 is also the same price, with again, higher power limits, better build quality, a better display, way better speakers, and overall it's just better. If you can find this laptop for way cheaper than those 2, it might be worth it. But at these same prices, I would just recommend those 2 over this guy. And that is pretty much it. I'll see you all in the next video. Bye bye.
Ach, das ist so